Welcome to the first podcast of Collette's Community. And today I have with me Mr. Don McCoy.
Hi, everybody. Don McCoy. I am president and CEO of the Fulshear Katy Area Chamber of Commerce for the last 10 years and currently a candidate for Mayor of Fulshear. It's so awesome to be on your first episode, Collette. Let me tell you.
I wouldn't have wanted to have anybody else.
This is great.
Okay. So we all know Don McCoy that is up on stage or in the booth calling the games
Right.
or emceeing events.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me who Don McCoy is.
That's a very hard question, and I wasn't prepped on any of these questions, so I'm going to have to stumble a little bit.
That's okay.
But I just got to say, what's that old line? I'm an enigma wrapped in a riddle, I guess, is that old line from some movie or something. But my life has been amazing. I've done so many things and have had so many experiences from the time when I was young living in Venezuela with my dad's work around the world, Venezuela, Iran, Mexico, England. I went to high school in England, had some great experiences there, learned to ski in Europe. So I've been exposed to the whole world. And then I went off to college and studied business and decided to go into film and television and went out to LA and studied there and was on a few films and moved to Dallas to work on the TV series Dallas and stayed in Dallas for quite a bit of time, acting and producing and directing. And I guess my mother actually is also a stage actress, which is not known to a lot of folks.
Right.
And I guess that's where I get my shyness from. But I've always wanted to be, I'm not scared to be out in front of a bunch of people. I've performed, at medieval times, even in front of thousands of people at one time. And God just put it on me to be, I guess, for lack of a better term, a showman in some respects. Mm-hmm. If you're sometimes trying to get your point across or you're trying to entertain people, people love to be entertained. They don't want boring. And when we started the Chamber of Commerce, I said, let's not do the same old thing. Let's think outside the box and do things that are exciting, make things tangible. So who is Don McCoy? I don't know. Stay tuned. And we'll show you what happens tomorrow. I mean, that's what's great. You don't know. You never know what you're going to get. But I'll tell you one thing you will get is you'll get complete enthusiasm, complete passion for what I do and what I love to do, and involvement and honesty and integrity. That's Don.
I like that. So tell me, out of all those things that you've done in your past, mm-hmm. what was the thing that brought you to the little town of Fulshear?
Well, it was back in April of 2013. Mm-hmm. I was about to have a birthday, and I had been working very hard in Dallas for many, many years. And in the entertainment business, you don't necessarily have weekends. And I just missed my family. I didn't have any family in Dallas. They all lived here in the Houston area. I graduated from high school here in the Houston area, Deer Park. And my brother called me up and he said, hey, we're moving to Fulshear, Texas. And I said, Fulshear, never even heard of it. I mean, I'm from Houston. I didn't know where Fulshear was. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of told me a little bit about it. And then he just said, hey, why don't you come home? My dad passed in 1999 and I came home for that and everything, but it would have been nice to be with my dad at his end days. And my mom moved out here to Fulshear. My niece lives out here in Fulshear. My nephews, my great nieces moved out here, and my brother Mike said, why don't you just come home? And home is where family is. It's not necessarily a place. It's where your family is, and that's home. And I said, sure, why not? I had to get directions how to get here. And I show up and I go, wow, nice little town, mm-hmm. not having a clue what I'm going to do. I had all these contacts back in Dallas, thinking I was going to go into try the film industry here in the Houston area. Actually got into the movie business. And what I mean by that is I was immediately hired by place called the Palladium. Remember Santico's
yes.
movie theater? And I was handling their marketing and their food and beverage department. And that's some experience that I've had, but that was just not going to work. It was, once again, working on the weekends, not going to church on Sunday, missing all those little things that I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So I left that, and still not knowing what I was going to do, my brother took me on a ride-along. He happens to be the police officer, captain here in Fulshear, Texas, took me on a ride-along, and we ran into a lovely lady named Cheryl Stalinsky. And she was the economic development director here about 10 years ago. And she came in a little kind of anxious and panicked and says, we're trying to start a chamber of commerce, and we don't know who we're going to get to run it. We need somebody to do it. And my brother said, here's Donnie, meet Donnie. So I interviewed with a couple of business owners, and main one, Randy Stacy, and all that, and Mark Ball and Mike Martin. And they hired me to start the chamber. They didn't have much, but they said, we're going to do the best we can, and we'll see if we can make it go. And I loved it. It was the best move. God put you where he needs you. I kid you not. Everything in my life I've ever learned, I use as president of the Chamber of Commerce. It is what it is today, 10 years later, but every experience you've ever had in your life is used at this moment in time. And that's it. That's how I got here.
So
and I love it
about
here.
That. You said every experience.
Every experience. What
was the most difficult experience that you learned from that helps you in what you're doing today?
Most difficult experience that I learned the most from? Well, I think when you're in the film business, or you're in the film and TV business, it's racked with disappointment.
Okay.
You get very excited about an audition and you don't get the part. Or you've got a project that you're working on and you're going to make these TV commercials for a client. The budget's not there. So the emotional ride up and down, you kind of learn how to deal with disappointment, and you learn how to deal with the excitements. And probably that's the most difficult thing, is how to handle the times when it doesn't go your way and how to do even better the next time. I think that's the most important trait that I've ever learned in my life.
So let's talk about acting much like Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
Yeah. And went into politics. So what was your favorite role?
Well, my favorite role, I think my favorite role is being Don McCoy. Let's just say that right now, because I've met so many phenomenal actors. One in particular, John Voight, and I were hung out for a lot. And one thing he used to say is, celebrate the little victories along the way. Don't just focus on the big one, just celebrate the small ones. And that sustains you. But as far as an actual role, the one I had the most fun on was a TV series called 13 East on NBC. I played a hospital priest, and kind of a cool priest, a Father Vinny kind of guy. In fact, I was Father Vinny. That was the name of the character. And it lasted one season. It came on right after Empty Nest, if you remember that TV show.
We're all going to be Googling this as soon
as,
yeah.
And the next one I really loved was JFK with Kevin Costner. That was
What role did you have in that?
I played the role of Johnny Brewer, and Johnny was the shoe store salesman, and he was on Texas Avenue. And when Oswald went to hide at the Texas Theater, he kind of hit his face in the window as the police cars were going by, because J.D. Tippett had gotten killed. Anyway, Johnny was the shoe store salesman and thought something was odd about this man staring in the window. And then he went and snuck into the theater, and Johnny was the one that went and met the police and told them this man snuck in the theater, not knowing it was Oswald. Met the police in the theater and walk up and points him out. And that's how the police officers arrested him.
So that was your role?
That was my role. And interesting enough, I auditioned for Oliver Stone for Born on the 4th of July with Tom Cruise. And he, interesting story, I don't want to get on these dives, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. But I'm sitting here interviewing with Oliver Stone, and he cast me in as a Secret Service guy for Born on the 4th of July. It got close to the time to shoot the part, and they had used some extras, and that's yet a disappointment. I was disappointed I didn't get the role, because that's what happens. Sometimes you get cast, and then you get a call from the agent. Guess what? We're not going to shoot that role.
So I was going to ask you that. What was the role that you really wanted that you didn't get?
The role that I really, really wanted that I didn't get, it's very hard. I still was Robert Urich got the role. Remember Vegas, Dan Tanner? Okay, it was the role of in Lonesome Dove. And I auditioned for that part, and I didn't get it.
And you didn't get it?
Yeah. Could have been a Lonesome Dove. That would have been a dream. I love Westerns.
But then you wouldn't have been here.
But maybe or maybe not, you know. But then after the Oliver Stone disappointment, I interviewed with Oliver Stone or auditioned for JFK, and I said, "Are you going to cut me out of this part again?" And he goes, "No, it's kind of history. We have to use you. You know, you look like the guy." And I actually met the guy who I played in JFK.
Oh, wow.
The real Johnny Brewer. And just one of these days, I'm just going to have to write a book called My Many Lives. It's you know, I've been involved with movie stars and film and television. I mean, I was responsible for, believe it or not, for LeAnn Rimes getting the song Blue, for instance.
Now that's some history we never would have known, right? Tell me about that.
Well, Bill Mack was a radio DJ called Midnight Cowboy, and he was on 8:20 a.m. nationwide on an AM station, and he was an overnight radio disc jockey, but he had wrote the song Drinking Champagne. Okay. And I hired him to be the character in a Comdata trucking commercial about a Comdata trucking car, and I got to know Bill Mack pretty well. Well, during this time, I was LeAnn Rimes' MC. I love to be an MC, right? So I was introducing LeAnn Rimes at all of her showcases. I was friends with her agent at the time, and she was, 13, but beautiful singer. And so I'm just chit-chatting with Bill Mack, and I said, "Bill, you ought to come hear this little girl sing. She's amazing." And I sent a tape of her to him where she sang the Star Spangled Banner at Texas Stadium. And he said, "Well," I said, play the tape. Okay. So he played it. He goes, "Oh my God, who is that?" And he played it all night that night, her singing. So he came and he heard her sing, loved her. And then he said, I went back to talk to him. He says, "I wrote Drinking Champagne." I said, "Yeah, I know, Bill." He says, "Well, I wrote this other song with Patsy Cline called Blue." And I said, "Well, what's it go?" And he goes, "It's blue." And he kind of sang a little bit. I said, "I bet LeAnn Rimes would sing that at her next showcase." So I introduced and gave her the song. She practiced it. And at the next showcase, she killed it. I mean, everyone was blown out of the water by Blue. And that year she got picked up by Curb Records. Blue was Song of the Year, and Bill got a Grammy, and so did she.
Did they invite you to the Grammys?
No, they didn't. I was watching the Grammys, but I was sitting here just kind of flabbergasted that look how God worked through all that. And, it's not the recognition or anything like that. It's just knowing you did something good. And that's what I thrive on.
So you mentioned your brother.
Yes.
Fure.
Yes.
So tell me how being mayor and having your brother in the police department, tell me how that's a positive.
Well, first off, I will say my brother is, if you look up the word integrity and honesty in the dictionary, you got my brother's face right there.
Yes, you do.
He's been a police officer 45 years, and I'm very proud of him. And the mayor, if should I be blessed to be the mayor of Fulshear? I'm a mayor for everybody, and everybody's to be held accountable for what they do. However, my brother answers to the police chief, and the police chief answers to the city manager, and then the city manager answers to the city council. Mm-hmm. And everyone needs to be held accountable. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to tell my brother what to do, and I never would. I used to when we were younger, but I think that the combination of a brother and the police department and me as mayor would be an asset to the community in such a big way, because we both love where we live, we love what we do, and we want the best for everybody. in the community. Absolutely.
So tell me what it is you love the most about Fulshear.
Well, when I came here, it was that the small town feel, which everybody loves. Now it's starting to grow really big, and we'd love to help try to keep that somewhat, but it's a little difficult to do. But what I love are the people that I met, the people who live here are just, it was like being at my grandpa McCoy's house in East Texas. You know, everybody knows everybody, and everybody helps everybody, and everybody has a heart. And I'm going to bring up the heart thing because my brother did this. He wrote Fulshear, Texas. And if you look at Fulshear, Texas, written together, heart is in the middle. And we're using that now because I think Fulshear is where the heart is, and we can prove it because it's right in the middle of Fulshear, Texas. And I think everyone here has a heart for each other in helping them, a heart for our community, a heart for our police department, a heart for our businesses here, a heart for doing the right thing. I still believe in the American dream and I still believe in people. And we're growing fast, and we just got to keep that camaraderie together. No matter where you are or what you do, you're a neighbor.
Now there are two factions in Fulshear. There's the faction that wants us to grow, and there's the faction that wants us to stay the same. So how are you going to navigate that?
Well, carefully. And I know that sounds ambiguous, but I think the job as mayor, or the privilege of mayor, is to listen to everybody. You can't just be the mayor for old Fulshear. You can't just be the mayor for quote unquote new Fulshear. Everybody has their druthers, as we used to say in the play Little Abner, and I was in there. Everyone has what they want. And both sides have to give up a little bit. They really do. And as mayor, you have to listen to both sides to understand what they're saying, not to reply. Too many people listen to reply. I'm guilty of it too. But you got to listen to understand where they're coming from. And then do the best to find what resources you have to satisfy their druthers. And it's going to be hard, but I think we can do it if we all understand we're in this together instead of separating ourselves. That's what I love about our chamber. There's no cliques. Everyone loves to help each other. So I think it won't be the easiest task, but I think it's doable. We got to just keep thinking it's where the heart is. We have a heart for each other. And if we keep that mindset, then I think we can overcome everything.
So let's talk about the chamber.
Okay.
So how long have you been with the chamber? I see something back here that says a 10. So tell me about that.
Well, the chamber is a 10. 10 years. We celebrated our 10th year anniversary this past January, January 2023, 2024. And the chamber has done fantastic. A lot of people thought it wouldn't happen. And we've become, I think, a true partner to business. And what I love about the chamber is we advocate on behalf of business. I think the city should advocate on behalf of business.
So how are you going to cross that over? What do you see as a strength in that, in being both chamber and city? And what do you see as being the weakness in that?
Okay. Well, there has been some people say that it's a conflict, and I want to address that. No, there really isn't. I think there's really an alignment that needs to take place. When most of my life, and everybody knows, business always seems to be an adversary to government, or government and business tends to be adversarial for some reason. I can't get a permit. I can't get anybody to return my call from City Hall, or City Hall is, upset about some development not going correctly. And that's communication problems. I think being chamber president and mayor will align perfectly to bridge that gap between government and the businesses, because you need to get your businesses in town up and running as quickly as possible because they generate tax revenue. Mm-hmm. We also want to be let's have a heart for business. Let's be the best place in Fort Bend County, if not the country. When I go and try to open a business in Fulshear, Texas, it is so easy. They are so friendly. I keep saying we need to be Buc-ee's clean and Chick-fil-A service.
Okay, that's the best tagline I think I've ever heard. But so a lot of people don't realize that the mayor actually can have a full-time job. They think that mayor of Fulshear should be a full-time job. So explain how it works here compared to a city like Houston.
Well, okay. First off, just to be clear, the Chamber of Commerce is not a government entity. It is a 501c6 nonprofit corporation, and we are governed by a board of directors. I have a board of directors that I answer to. The mayor of Fulshear, Texas, Fulshear is a city council form of government. That means they hire a city manager who is or if you will, the CEO, runs operations in the city. Whereas Houston has a strong form of mayor where they are paid a full-time salary to be the CEO of the city.
So is the Fulshear mayor not a full-time position?
It can be. Well, everything's a full-time position when you've got a passion. But let me say, the mayor only gets paid a small stipend per month. And so does city council. They all get paid something a little bit, but not enough to really, I think it's $1,000 a month that the mayor gets. So everyone on city council, unless they're retired, including the mayor, have another job. They have.
So all of our past mayors have had another job.
Absolutely. Our current mayor, who's terming out, Aaron Groff, is the vice president of a nonprofit agency called Abigail's. He also has interest in a local title company. The former mayor, Tommy Kirkendall, has his own engineering company, so he worked there. But really what the mayor is he runs the meetings, the council meetings. He listens to constituents. He's sort of he or she is the ceremonial head of the city. The proclamations and things like that. But also, I think the mayor needs to be asking questions on behalf of the constituents. When the public doesn't know what's going on, let's put it this way, Collette. I think to be mayor, you have to accept change because our town is changing fast. And if we don't embrace change, I can't bring value to our citizens. So I've got to recognize change and how to embrace it. Now, when change happens, people don't get confident. They're I'm scared to death. So you lose confidence. So I think the mayor needs to instill confidence, not only bring confidence themselves, but put confidence into the city council and let the constituents know I'm confident in our leadership. Okay, so we can take that change, and change equals opportunity all the time. As mayor, you got to recognize change. And I think change equals opportunity. And that's fantastic. But when change happens, people lose a little of their confidence. So we've got to have the confidence to embrace change. And third is clarity and consistency. If I'm not clear on the objectives that the city council and that the constituents want to go with, I can't lead other people to where we need to go. So when people are in city council talking about a CIP and all these acronyms and a TCEQ and all that, and people are watching online or they're there in person, they may not have any clue what all these acronyms mean. So it's imperative to be clear what we're talking about so that the constituents know what we're talking about. So realistically, accept change, be confident in change, and then ultimately clarity and consistency. Consistent. Stay consistent with your message and stay consistent and clear.
I want to vote for you. Okay, we're going to make it fun for a second.
Okay, fun. I love fun.
Bucket list. Tell me 3 things that are on your bucket list.
3 things on my bucket list. I think one of my bucket list items would be to get in an RV and travel the great state of Texas. There's just so much to see. And I have not been to certain places like Marfa and see the Marfa Lights and Palo Duro Canyon, which is the second largest canyon in the entire United States. And there's areas in Texas that are so beautiful. And I'm a history buff. And what I would love to do in this RV along my trip is to stop at every historical marker and read that marker and say, this is what happened here, and take a picture or something like that. And this, and show that marker. So that's kind of a bucket list item right there. Second bucket list item is, it's going to sound hokey and everything, but to be the best darn mayor the city's ever seen, I guess. And let's have fun and make Fulshear the envy of most cities in the state of Texas, if not the United States, and really embrace the heart thing. I think a mayor's heart ball would be a lot of fun to try to raise money for scholarships or to keep Fulshear beautiful in some way. Yeah. And you know how in Katy and Wimberley, they had the boots that everybody painted,
right.
In Wimberley and in Katy they had the train.
Right.
Well, why can't we have hearts around town that businesses put in front of their business, and you paint it and make it your own? And as you come into town, it's welcome to
Okay, that is now officially a thing. That's your first thing you're going to do as mayor. I
and
want to do that.
Hey, welcome to Fulshear. It's where the heart is. I mean, I think that's amazing. And he said a third thing.
Third thing.
The third thing is just making my friends and family proud.
Love that. Okay, now I'm going to rapid fire some questions at you. These are all your favorites. I know. These are all your favorites. Okay. Book.
Bible.
Other than the Bible.
Other than the Bible. Magicians of Main Street.
Okay. Song.
More Than a Feeling. No, wait.
Oh.
Take that back. Finish What You Started by Sammy Hagar.
Okay. Movie.
Godfather.
Oh, why?
I don't know. It's just an awesome movie. It really, I don't know. I can't tell you why, but I know. Food. Tacos.
Okay.
Yeah. I love tacos, but also Taste of Texas filet mignon.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
Okay. Person.
Favorite person? My brother.
Okay. If you could choose one talent that you don't have, what would it be?
I wish I could sing really good. I really do. I love going to concerts and I sing along, but I'm glad it's really loud so you don't hear me. When you talk about bucket list and everything, I think another thing is that if I had another life, it would have been great to be a rock star. One of my friends was in the movie La Bamba, Lou Diamond Phillips. He and I were in film school together. And I remember when he got the part in La Bamba and he had to learn how to play the guitar. But anyway, I digress. Rock stars to me, I'm a big fan of Sammy Hagar and rock. That's my genre. And so my friend David Melanson made these guitar picks. And these guitar picks have a cross and it has Proverbs on the back, and it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your understanding. Don't lean on your own understanding. Trust in the Lord." And it's Proverbs 3:5. And I carry these around. He brought me a whole bunch of them. And what I do is I say, I'll say, Collette, you're a rock star. You are what you do in the community. This podcast is phenomenal. But you've done so much before this. You're well known. You're a rock star in this community. And every rock star needs their own guitar pick. So here you go.
That's incredibly cool. Thank you.
So if you want to be a rock star, be one and come see me. You'll get a guitar pick as well.
Vote Don McCoy.
Early voting. April 22nd through April 30th. Election day is May the 4th.
Okay, if there's one thing you wanted to tell us today that I didn't ask you, what is it?
One thing that I wanted to tell you, wow, you covered a lot, and I'm very impressed. You're very good at this. Usually I'm on that side of the table. You know, Collette, if there's, you asked if there's one thing that I haven't said that I'd like to say, and I think we need to say more of, is I love you, I love you, I love everyone. And if we just had more love in this world, I think it'd be a better place. So let's truly, truly, truly embrace Fulshear and let everybody know this is where the heart is, because the heart is love.
Well, I want to thank you for being my very first podcast.
My honor.
Yeah.
It's actually my honor. This is truly a blessing. You've been a friend for a long time, and you play a significant role, not only in the community, but also in my life. So thank you very much. I love you.
I love you. Thank you, friend. And thank you for being with us today on the first podcast of Colette's Community. This is Collette Horton reminding you to be the light someone else needs.